The original HomePod came out 8 years ago. It runs on the same chip as the iPhone 6, and somehow in 2026, this thing is still getting software updates. It might actually be one of the best smart speakers you can buy today. And the craziest part, the exact flaws that make the speaker fail in 2018 are the same reason it still works today. Let's dive deeper into that. When Apple released the HomePod in 2018, it cost $349, and most people absolutely roasted it, including me. It was overpriced, really and truly Siri was terrible, and it locked too deeply into the Apple ecosystem. And honestly, 8 years later, they were right. Siri's still bad, the smart features are actually still weak, and the speaker flopped so badly that Apple discontinued it in 2021. Okay, it came back for Gen 2, but it's not that much of a difference, and we're gonna get back to that later. But what's really interesting about the speaker is that again, 8 years later, the speaker refuses to die. And this is where the irony begins, because the biggest criticism of the HomePod was Siri. Siri was bad in 2018, and guess what? Siri is still bad today. But that's the reason why the speaker has lasted for so long, because Siri has barely evolved. There hasn't really been a great revolution to Siri for all these years, and Apple has never needed more hardware to run it. So the iPhone 6 chip inside the HomePod is still powerful enough to run it. Mind you, the iPhone 6 doesn't run the latest iOS version anymore. It's quite obsolete. Again, 8 years later, the speaker is still getting updates, and in the tech world, that almost never happens. So with my current setup, I have 4 HomePods. But here's a key detail. I did not pay $349 for each of them. Neither did I pay the $299 that it's being sold for the Gen 2 right now. Most of mine were bought used on Facebook Marketplace between $120 to $150. And for that price, this thing becomes an absolute steal. I have 2 of them in my bedroom paired together as a stereo pair, connected to my TV, and I have the other 2 HomePods in my office. And honestly, this is where the HomePods start making sense. The 2 in my bedroom are set up in stereo, which means one speaker handles the left channel and the other speaker handles the right channel. And compared to the built-in speakers on my TV, it's not even close. The sound is fuller, the bass is deeper, and the soundstage is surprisingly wide for speakers this small. Alright, so let's not get twisted. I'm not an audiophile or anything, but I can definitely tell a huge difference between my TV speakers compared to what I have as HomePods right now, or even a Bluetooth speaker or just a surround bar. So it's not as powerful as a full Sonos surround setup. Of course it's not. But compared to something like a typical soundbar in the bedroom or a Bluetooth speaker. But the real magic of the HomePod comes from AirPlay 2. AirPlay 2 lets you create multi-room audio across your home. So for example, I can play music in my office, walk into my bedroom, and instantly send the same audio to the HomePods over there. Everything stays synchronized. So I'm playing music in my bedroom, my office, and even my living room, because my living room has the Sonos setup, which also contains AirPlay 2. These are different systems with the Sonos and the HomePods, but just due to that technology from Apple, I'm able to play music in all the same rooms, or even play it in different rooms, group everything together, and just have that cohesive experience. This doesn't just work for Apple Music or with the Home app. Anything that produces audio, you should be able to see that AirPlay button and transmit that audio to whatever setup is playing with the AirPlay 2. There's also a feature that I actually like a lot, even though it's a bit of a gimmick. When I'm walking around the house playing music or any audio on my iPhone and enter a room that has a HomePod, my phone sometimes suggests transferring the music to that speaker. It basically recognizes the room you're in and suggests continuing playing back on the nearest HomePod. Now, I'll be honest, it works maybe 50% of the time, but when it does work, it feels incredibly seamless. There's also this feature called Handoff, which is, another big gimmick. So this is where you bring your phone close to the iPod and it transfers the audio automatically. Again, sometimes it works perfectly. Other times, Siri reminds you, or the HomePod reminds you of who he or she or they really is. But when it works, it genuinely feels like magic. All these features are secondary because the real reason people buy the speaker is for the sound. Apple built this HomePod as a premium audio device first, smart speaker second. I mean, I have to tell myself that because Siri is so bad. Back when the speaker came out, its main competitors were things like the Sonos One, the Google Home X, which isn't even available anymore, and the Amazon Echo Show Studio. And here's the funny thing, most of the speakers were smarter than the HomePod. Google Assistant was definitely better, Alexa was better, but in terms of the pure sound quality for the size, the HomePod is easily one of the best, and honestly, even today with the current set of speakers from this 2026, I'd still put it near the top of that list in the $300 range of home speakers. All right, it's finally time to talk about Siri. There's no way around it. Siri is the weakest smart assistant on the market. Google Assistant is better. It's Gemini now, isn't it? Alexa understands more commands, and Siri just struggles with context and complicated requests. But for the basic things I use it for, it's totally fine. Most of the time I'm using my HomePods for simple things like playing music, setting timers, setting alarms, finding my phone, turning off the lights, finding my keys that have the AirTags on them or whatever is connected to the AirTag. And honestly, for those basic tasks, Siri works well enough. The key is not asking it for too much. You see what I'm saying? But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it with Siri. Like you don't want to be asking it very deep questions because good luck with that. There's one big catch. If you're not too deep into the Apple ecosystem, this speaker probably isn't for you. There's no Android support, no Bluetooth pairing, no Chromecast. So if you're using the iPhone, Mac, and Apple Music, this speaker makes more sense. I have a Windows machine and an Android phone, and when using them in my office, I really can't play music through the speaker, so I have to connect it to my monitor speaker, which obviously isn't as good as the HomePod. At $349, the speaker was overpriced. At $299, the Gen 2 is still overpriced. But today, you can find them used between $120 to $150 on Facebook Marketplace. Please don't go more than that. And at that price, the sound quality alone makes it worth it. There's one more thing I worry about for this speaker. It has no batteries. So unlike phones or laptops, there's nothing inside that naturally degrades. It's basically just a speaker plugged into a wall, which technically means there's no reason why it shouldn't last another decade. The only real question is, how long will Apple keep supporting it? It's been 8 years. It's the iPhone 6's chip. When this magical Siri comes out, what's going to happen to these Gen 1 HomePods? Is it still going to have AirPlay 2 support? Because that's a big deal for me. That's all I need it for. So Apple, please, if you're hearing this, I need another decade from this HomePods. If you can find a HomePod used for around $120, this is one of the best smart speaker deals available, hands down. Not because it's the smartest, but because it sounds incredible. 8 years ago, people called this HomePod a failure. And honestly, they went wrong. But today, it might actually be one of Apple's most underrated products. And for $120, I'd buy it again without thinking twice. All right, that's it from me. See you in the next video.